Jai Mahamaya Ki Jai. In our last discourse, we heard about the king Turvasu having received the beautiful son from Lakshmi and Vishnu, who he called Ekavira. Let's go on with chapter 21 now. Vedavyasa said, O king, in the meanwhile, the king Turvasu performed the religious ceremonies performed for the birth of a child and other ceremonies of the child. The boy was nurtured daily and began to grow day by day. The king began to enjoy his worldly life on getting a son and thought within himself that the boy had freed him from the 3 debts due to the fathers, the rishis, and the devas. Next, in the 6th month, the king performed the Anaprasana ceremony, which is the putting of boiled rice in the mouth, and continued to perform the various ceremonies appropriate for his growth. He distributed on those occasions various articles, wealth, and cows to the Brahmanas and other articles of various value to other mendicants and made them very glad. In the 11th year, he performed the boy's holy thread ceremony and tying the girdle made of triple string of munja grass and put the boy to learn archery and the Vedas from his teachers. Next, when the boy passed proficiently in the study of the Vedas and in learning of all the kingly duties, the king desired to install him on the throne. The king Turvusa then collected with great care all the necessary articles for installation on an auspicious day, the combination of Pusya asterism and Arka Yoga. He called them the Brahmins, well-versed in the Vedas and the Sastras, and became ready in accordance with due rites to perform the installation ceremony of the prince. Waters were brought from various sacred places of pilgrimage and from the several oceans, and on an auspicious day the king performed himself the installation of his son. When the ceremony was over, the king gave away hordes of wealth to the Brahmins, and giving the charge of his kingdom to his son, he went to the forest with a desire to ascend to the heavens. Thus placing Ekavira on the throne, the king Turvasu showed respects to his ministers and, controlling his senses, went to the forest accompanied by his wife. On the top of the Mainaka mountain, he took up the vow of Vanaprastha and, sustaining his life on leaves and fruits, began to meditate on Parvati. Thus, when his prarabdha karma ended, he left his mortal coil with his life and went by virtue of his good deeds to the Indraloka. Hearing that the king had ascended to heavens, his son Ekavira, Haya, performed his funeral ceremonies according to the rules laid down by the Vedas. The king's son, the intelligent Haya, performed one after another all the ceremonies due and began to govern the kingdom, which was free from any enemies. The virtuous king, Ekavira, remained duly obedient to his ministers after he got possession of his kingdom and began to enjoy all the best things. The powerful king one day went on horseback to the bank of the river Ganges with his minister's son. Roaming about, he found there the boughs of trees had assumed a very graceful appearance, with loads of fruits, echoed with the sweet voice of the cuckoos and with the humming of bees. Close by were the hermitages of Munis, where the bucks were skipping about, and at other places the Vedas were being chanted. The smoke was seen rising from the altars where oblations had been offered, and appeared to form like a black canopy in the heavens. Full ripe grains were enhancing the beauty of the fields, and the cowherders were merrily watching the fields. Places of recreation adorned with full-blown lotuses and beautiful groves were attracting the attention of all visitors. The various trees were adorned with fruits, stealing away the minds of the people. At other places, the various other trees stood gracefully. Next, when the king went to the Ganges water, he saw the gay, beautiful, full-blown lotuses were spreading their fragrant scents all around. On the right side of these lotuses, he saw a lotus-eyed girl. She was shining like the gold. Her beautiful hair was long and curling. Her throat was like a kambu, belly thin, lips like the bimba fruit, several other limbs well built and graceful. She was exquisitely lovely. That lady, just blooming into youth, was suffering bereavements from her comrades and was very distressed and seemed bewildered. She was crying like an ewe in the dense, lonely forest. Seeing her, the king asked her what was the reason of her sorrows. O cuckoo voiced one, you are yet a girl. Who has left you alone in this state? O sweet one, tell me, where is your husband now, or where is your father? O one looking askance, what is your trouble? Explain it to me. I will, no doubt, remove all your sorrows and troubles. O fair one, in my dominion no one ever gives trouble to any other body. Lovely one, there is no fear in my kingdom from thieves or rakshasas, or any fear from any serious, dangerous calamities on this earth, fear from lions, tigers, or any other dangers, while my sway is predominant. O one of beautiful thighs, why are you crying on this lonely bank of the Ganges? Tell me, what is your pain? I can remove the pains and misery, even if it's a serious nature of men, whether they come from the devas or human sources, and this is my principal vow. O large-eyed one, speak, what is your inmost desire? I will carry it out instantaneously. When the king thus spoke, that beautiful woman spoke gentle words. O king, hear the cause of my sorrows. O king, while will the people cry to no purpose, unless calamities come before them? O mighty armed one, I now tell you why I am weeping. O king, there was a very religious king named Rabhaya in another province that is not yours. At first he had no issue. He had a very beautiful wife named Rukmarika. She was clever, chaste, and endowed with all auspicious qualities, but issueless as she was, she remained very sorry, and in a remorseful tone spoke to her husband. O Lord, I am barren, I have no sons, I am therefore a very unhappy creature. My life is in vain. What use is there in my living? When the queen thus spoke very distressedly, the king called the Brahmanas, first in the Vedas, and began to perform an excellent sacrificial ceremony in due accordance with the Vedic rules, with the desire to get a child. He made many presents in profuse quantities. When copious quantities of ghee were offered as oblation, there arose from a fire a girl beautiful in all respects and endowed with all auspicious signs. Her teeth were very nice, eyebrows very lovely, face enchanting like a full moon, the luster of her body lovely and of a golden color. Her hairs were fine and curling, her lips like the bimba fruits, her hands and face of a red color. Her eyes were red like lotuses, and her limbs were soft and gentle. When the girl arose from the fire, the priest took that lean and thin lady of a nice waist by her arms and presented her to the king and said, O king, accept this daughter endowed with all auspicious signs. When the homa was being performed, the daughter came up like the garland Ekavira. Therefore, this girl became famous in this world by the name Ekavira. O ruler of the earth, take this girl resembling a son and be happy. O king, Vishnu, the Deva of the Devas, has given you this jewel, this daughter, so be contented. Hearing thus the words of the priest, the king saw the good-looking girl and with gladdened heart took the beautiful daughter from his hands. Thus with that lovely daughter he went to his wife and said, O beautiful one, take this daughter. The queen felt the pleasure of having a son when she got in her arms that lotus-eyed beautiful daughter. The king next performed the natal and other ceremonies of the daughter and did all the acts as if she had been a son to him, duly in accordance with the rules. The king performed his sacrificial ceremonies and gave away lots of dakshina to the Brahmins and dismissed them and became very glad. The beautiful girl was nursed and cared for like a beautiful child, and she grew older day by day. The queen was very gladdened to get her. On the very day the birthday festival was performed, as on the occasion of a great celebration, that daughter grew older, very affectionate and dear to all. O lovely one, you are a king and intelligent too. I will describe to you all the details here. I am the daughter of the minister to that king. My name is Yasovati. That daughter and I look alike and of the same age. Therefore the king has made me her comrade. I spend my day and nights always with her as her constant dear companion. Ekavira likes very much to remain and sport wherever she finds sweet-scented lotuses. At other places she does not find happiness. At the distant bank of the Ganges many lotuses grow. Therefore Ekavira goes there with great pleasure to that place with me and her other fellow mates. One day I told the king that Ekavira used to go daily to a distant solitary forest to see the lotus lake. Then the king addressed her not to go, and he got a lake built within the compounds of his palace and planted many lotus seeds therein. Gradually the lotuses began to blossom, and the bees came to drink their honey. Still, Ekavira used to go outside in search of lotuses. Then the king sent armed guards to accompany her. Thus that thin-bodied daughter of the king used to go daily to the banks of the Ganges for play, guarded by armored soldiers, accompanied by myself and other companions. Again, when the sporting was over, she used to return to the palace. Here ends the 21st chapter, the 6th book, on the installation of Ekavira and the birth of Ekavira in the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam Puranam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Veda Vyasa. Jai Mahamaya Ki Jai.